So I think this is most of us. We may get, oh, yep, there's another person entering now. So again, entering people from the waiting room, I feel like is like getting up to open the door all the time. I'm still getting used to that new security feature that we have on that. But anyway, so for the attendance tonight, I thought we would start out doing something kind of fun. I thought we would, in the chat, I want you guys, here comes another one. Okay. All right, in the chat, I want you guys to put, well, first let me tell you something fun because again, winter doesn't have to all be just like, you know, awful. It can be fun. And so I will tell you guys, so a new hobby that I have started this winter, and you guys have to promise not to like judge me too hard here, but I have been once a week, I have been polar plunging. So this is new for me. I have not done this before. I'm still figuring out like what works with it. But so far, the coldest I have done has been 40 degrees, water temperature 40 degrees. So far, so good. So we will see. So in the chat, I want you guys to put something fun that you like to do in the winter. Something you can't do when it's not cold outside. Oh, you guys are having to think too hard. That makes me sad. There could be some fun things in winter. It doesn't all have to be drudgery. There you go. Ice skating, woodwork. Yes. Hot yoga. Okay. Yes. Ice skating, hot yoga outside, man. That could be, you could melt some snow. Oh, baking. Yes, I am all about the baking. I'm a stress baker. Anybody else bake when they're stressed? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I did my taxes today. I've got cookies sitting over here. That's what I did between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock for my class tonight was stress baking. So anyway, well, thank you guys for putting, oh, snowboarding. I've never tried snowboarding. Is that easier or harder than skiing? Because I didn't do so well when I tried skiing.
I think snowboarding's harder to learn the basics,
Okay.
but once you learn it, it's a lot easier to like progress.
Oh,
I think it's kind of the flip side for skiing personally. Like it's kind of easy to learn the basics, but to progress, it's a little bit harder.
okay. All
Does that
right.
make sense?
I saw someone put roasted marshmallows too. That is another very fun thing to do. Yes, I am all about that. Now, is that s'mores or just marshmallows?
S'mores.
S'mores.
I can
Okay.
do s'mores with my kids.
Oh yeah. Yeah, kids are a good excuse for things like s'mores. Okay, so are you guys team just barely roasting them or getting them like
Burnt,
charcoal
like
burned?
Set them on fire.
Oh yeah.
Charcoal.
Oh, no, just brown.
Oh
Brown.
yeah, team burn. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. These people who just barely brown yours and get it just barely melted, I don't understand that. Is there anybody that doesn't like marshmallows? Because it's okay if you don't. No, no one wants to admit that.
I'll only eat them if they're in Rice Krispie treats. That's the only way I can eat them.
Oh, so you don't like them over an open flame.
No, thank you.
Really? Okay. All right. Oh, and hey, everybody, Jason's got his name out tonight.
Hey,
All right.
I told you I'd change it.
You did. I had complete confidence that you were going to make it happen.
I'm trying to get my camera working, but it's not working, but I'm working on it.
You keep working on it. We got all class. You just do.
mine's the same because can you all see me?
We can't. We can't. It's like you're like in a
Hey,
tunnel. You
see.
keep, you guys keep working on it. That's what we're here for, is to learn and practice so that when you guys are in other classes or when you have other presentations to do, you had this class and you got it mastered. So, well, we have, I hate to show my age in making these quotes, but these quotes come to my head. So, anybody remember an old movie called Cannonball Run? Anybody ever heard of Cannonball Run?
I
No.
got Don Knotts in it.
I don't think it's that old. It's not in
Okay.
black and white. But there is so the premise of the movie is that there is uh, a race and they're trying to get from one place to another, and they get a big amount of money if they get there, and they have to like elude the cops and that sort of thing. But anyway, there's a song that goes with it that says, "We have a long way to go and a short time to get there." And so whenever I have a class where I have a lot of stuff that we're trying to fit in, like tonight, that's what song comes to my mind is we've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I want to say it's Waylon Jennings maybe that sings it, but I'm not positive. So anyway, something for you guys to look up later on TikTok or YouTube when you're bored. Okay. All right, so tonight, what do we have to do? Well, we've got to kind of get everything kicked off. So we're going to do a little bit of death by PowerPoint. Not much, I promise. I will go quickly. It'll be like taking off a Band-Aid. I will rip it off fast. We will get just the information we have to have off the slides, and then we will move on. Okay, we will not camp out there. We're going to talk about your outline because your outline is due next Tuesday for your first speech. Well, second speech, kind of. Okay. We're going to go over what that speech entails so that you guys can start thinking about it. And then at the very end of class, when we have some time left over, I'm going to put you guys into groups and you all will do the assignment that some of you emailed me about that is due tonight. And I should have qualified better that I was going to let you guys do that as a class assignment. So after we go over what is the format that we're going to use for the outline, then I'm going to put you guys into groups and you guys are going to collectively as a group find a TED Talk that you're interested in and you're going to do a reverse outline. So you're going to watch that TED Talk and then you're going to retrofit it into an outline. And so that's just my way to couple of things. One, it's my way to get you all to get to know each other a little bit more by putting you in groups. And we're going to do a lot of that this semester. Just because this is an online class doesn't mean we can't build community, right? Okay. So I want you guys to build some friendships and community, just like you would if you were sitting next to each other in a classroom. And two, it's a chance to practice for your outline since your outline is going to be due next Tuesday. And then you guys are going to turn your outline in. I'm going to give you feedback, and then your speech is going to be the following week. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So tonight we're going to talk about the basics of communication and the basics of speeches. But again, we are only building the foundation tonight. So we're going to touch on a lot of things and then we're going to dive deeper as the weeks go forward. So the way that I structure my public speaking classes is we build on the skills and we keep improving as we go. So, and I don't know if I told you guys this the first day or not. If I did, it's a repeat. If I didn't, then take notes. You're hearing it for the first time. I don't evaluate your speeches against your classmates. I evaluate your speeches against your speech from the last time. So, I want to see that you guys are taking the feedback that I give you and the feedback you give yourself in your self-reflection, and you're applying that because that's how we grow. That's how we become better at anything is we do it, we get feedback, we incorporate that feedback, and then we do better the next time. Okay. So my expectation is that the speech you all give in 2 weeks will not be as good as the speech you all give at the end of the semester. Make sense?
Yes.
Good. All right. Any questions before we get started? Oh, I almost forgot. Don't we have a couple of people, or at least one, that was not here last week? Blake, who else?
I
Two,
wasn't
Mary?
here.
You weren't? So two?
I was here for part, but then I had to leave in the middle of class.
No. Okay. Did you make a presentation last week?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So those of you who weren't here last week, one of the things that we did last week in our very first class was everybody gives their first speech, which is an impromptu speech. Okay. Guys, help me out here with this in case I forget any details. It wasn't more than 10 minutes long, wasn't it? Isn't that how long the speech was?
I thought it was 10. Yeah.
10 minutes? That sound about right?
Yes,
We are totally joking. We are
It
totally
was
joking.
it was less than a minute. Come on
We are
now. Yeah, I'm
totally
Yeah.
scared to
joking.
death.
It was
I
60
was looking, I was like,
seconds.
there's no way.
It was
Hold
60
on. The
seconds.
fear in their eyes.
Your classmates, man, they have this like poker face. They were like, 10 minutes. Do we agree with that? Do we say it's 10 minutes? Okay. No. 1 minute. That's it. The assignment's actually called How Long is a Minute? Because I will time you all and you will speak introducing yourself for exactly 60 seconds. I will say stop. Your classmates will all applaud and then you'll be done. And everybody who does it gets an automatic 50 points out of 50 points. Not a bad gig, right? Okay, so we've got 3 people, so that means we have to allocate at least 3 minutes to get the rest of our classmates caught up. Okay, your other classmates are feeling very good right now because they're like, oh, we did this last week and we don't have to do it now, right? But they're going to be very supportive and encouraging because that's the kind of class we have, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, because this is a safe space. All right. Okay, so I'm going to get my timer started. Who wants to go first?
I can go.
You can go. Okay. I'm gonna make a note here because one of the things, and you guys seen, you all got your grades last week. So I try really hard to either grade, I try to grade your speeches in real time, but the first one I don't because it's only 60 seconds and I can't do that in that amount of time. All right, so when you start speaking, I will start my watch.
Okay. Hey guys, my name is Noelle. Currently I do school full-time online while I work full-time. Public speaking, I didn't really put off this course. I know we mentioned that last time. So at my job, I'm a leasing manager. So I'm not giving speeches every day, but I'm constantly talking to people throughout the day. I'm constantly being put on the spot about issues. So I'm just kind of used to it at this point. Besides work and school, this is kind of embarrassing. I like to go line dancing a lot, and a lot of my friends make fun of me for it, but I think it's so fun. So yeah,
Okay, you got 20 seconds left.
20 seconds. Oh, in the background, you'll probably see him right there. That's my dog, Bo. So ever if you see him pop up, he's just super, super nosy and he has to know what's going on 24/7. So if he becomes a distraction, I do apologize.
Okay, and stop. That was your 1 minute. All right. All right. 2 more to go. Who's next?
I can go if you'd like.
All right. Thank you, sir. Ready when you are.
All right. My name is Blake Jackson. I'm a student at Carter High School. I'm a senior. I'm doing my dual enrollment public speaking right now. I only have one period at school anymore. It's my second period welding. So I work for a HVAC construction company from 12:30 to 3:30, and then I'm also enlisted in the Air National Guard, and I ship in August, so I have to do that once a month. I have a business. I do landscape and erosion control in the summer. So once that heats up, I have to go back to doing that every weekend for too much time. During the winter, I like to duck hunt a lot. I ski. Grew up in Duluth, Minnesota, so we skied a lot up there. But duck hunting is usually what I end up doing. I really like routine. I wake up same time every day, do the same thing every day.
And stop.
All right, there you go.
All right. Blake, I do not think you are a person who gets bored. You have
I
a
don't
lot
have
going
time.
on.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Last but not least.
Yes, I can go.
All right. Go right ahead.
All right. Hi, my name's Marin Hubbard. I'm 18 years old. I'm born and raised here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I just transferred this semester to Pellissippi. I last semester was a student at UTC. in their interior architecture program, but I decided to come back home and come to Pellissippi. And now I'm on the Tennessee Transfer Pathway program. So after my first 2 years here at Pellissippi, I'll transfer to UTK and hopefully do their retail management and merchandising program there. Um, I have worked at a little boutique, children's boutique called Twig since my sophomore year of high school. Um, I've loved it there. Honestly, if I could take over it one day, I would. So yeah, I do that pretty much when I'm not doing school or hanging out with friends or anything like that. Yeah.
And
And
stop.
yeah.
All right. Thank you guys. Okay, so was that a quick minute or was that a slow minute? What do you
I feel
think?
like it was a pretty quick minute.
Okay. Let me ask you this, for those of you in the audience, did it feel quicker being an audience member than it did being the person on the spot? Yeah,
100% quicker.
100%, huh? Okay. All right. Anybody else? So do we have everybody covered now? I don't want anybody to miss out on your 50 points. You guys earned it, but I don't want you to miss it. All right, let's dive into talking about public speaking a little bit then. Okay, can you guys see my screen? And if so, what does it say?
Speaking in public.
Well, then we have the right one. Okay, we're going to breeze through some of these, and if there is something that piques your interest or you have a question about it, then stop me. But otherwise, I'm just going to again build the foundation tonight and hit the highlights, and we will go in much more detail as the weeks go on. Okay, so public speaking. Some of these are very self-explanatory. It is a way of making ideas public, right? It is important for your career. It's important for civic engagement. I always tell my students, I want my students to be the ones who get the jobs, get the promotions, are the ones who are asked to do trainings in your job, the ones who make an A in your other classes when you do presentations, because of the confidence and the skills that you learn while you're taking this class. Okay. All right. Public speaking, this talks about the differences between public speaking and a conversation, but I will argue a little bit and push back on this one because I think it has more similarities than differences. Okay. Public speaking, in my mind, is a conversation. And I like to think of it like I used to use the analogy of a tennis match, but I feel like a pickleball match might be more appropriate now. But basically, as the public speaker, you are tossing an idea up in the air and you are hitting it across the net to your audience. Your audience is receiving that pickleball or tennis ball. They have to do something with that. If you're an audience member, as many of you just were in the class, what are your options when someone is giving a speech?
Smile and nod.
Smile and nod, yes.
Be engaged. I mean, listen.
Be engaged and listen, yes. Now, those are the nice things to do. What are some of the things we do sometimes that we shouldn't do whenever we have an audience, whenever we're in the audience?
You can
Laugh.
Oh,
Laugh,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. How about this?
yeah.
How many of us have been guilty of looking at our phones when someone's making a speech or a presentation, right? It's easy to zone out sometimes. We're not going to do that in this class, but that's with an audience, right? But the idea is the audience has to do something. They can ignore the ball and let it roll by them. They can ignore the words and not do anything with them, like they're looking at their phone or they're thinking about what they're going to do when they get out of class, or they can engage in nonverbal feedback, which is what you all were saying. You can smile, you can nod, right? You can lean in closer to let people know that you're listening, right? You can ask questions, right? You can be engaged in some way. When you're the one who's giving the speech, you have to think about how can I best convey the words that I need to say to this audience? Okay. You want to make sure that you're using logical organization, which is why we're going to talk about using an outline tonight. Okay. You want to make sure that you are tailoring your message to an audience. You don't want to be speaking over the heads of your audience or beneath of your audience, right? And you don't want to be talking about something that your audience has no interest in. You want to make it interesting for them. One of the things that you're going to hear me say over and over again in this class, because you have an instructor who also has a marketing background, is WIFM. Has anybody heard that acronym before? WIFM. No. What's in it for me? Your audience has a filter on their ears, and they're going to listen when they're going to listen, and when they hear something that interests them, they're going to tune into you. Okay. That's what we do as human beings, right? I say that as human beings. Pets do that too. We said, what was your dog's name that you were just talking about?
His name is Bo.
Bo. Yeah. So my guess is there are certain words, if we were to say them, that would make Bo, his ears would probably peak up or he would sit up, right? So like WALK or, OUT or maybe SNACK, right? Some of those kinds of things might, yes, right? So it's not just human beings, right? So many, many creatures are attuned to certain things, and we're no different, right? If I were to say this is going to be on a test, you guys are more likely to pay attention to what I'm saying, right? Than if I just sound like I'm just, again, Charlie Brown's teacher. Who did the best imitation of Charlie Brown's teacher last week? Oh, you guys aren't going to admit it. Okay. All right. That's fair. You don't have to do it this week. I won't make you perform every week. This is not a theater class. All right. Telling stories, and you're going to get a chance to do that through some of these speeches. And then, again, as I mentioned before, adapting to feedback. You don't grow in anything, whether it's a speech, a sport, anything that you do without trying to do things to improve yourself. Okay. All right. So the differences, again, we're not going to spend a lot of time on these, is public speaking is more structured, more formal language, sometimes, depends on what you're presenting. And then you use different methods of delivery. But I would argue that conversation has a lot of those kinds of things. Now, anxiety. Anxiety is something that you will see diminish throughout this course because your confidence is going to grow. And your confidence is going to grow because you're going to gain skills. And as you gain skills, you're going to feel more comfortable. And as you feel more comfortable, your confidence is going to grow and your anxiety is going to go down. Okay. I am a firm believer in the power of positive speaking and also in self-fulfilling prophecy. We'll talk more about that later on. Anybody want to define self-fulfilling prophecy?
As man thinketh, so he'll become.
Exactly, exactly. So our minds are very powerful. And if we tell ourselves we're going to do well, we will automatically do things to set ourselves up for success. If we tell ourselves that we're not going to do well over and over again, our minds will actually put roadblocks in place to keep us from doing well. And so this leads into the assignment that you guys have for your first speech, which is the Back to the Future speech as well. I want you guys to picture yourself being very successful in the next 5 years, and that will help you to reach your goals, but we'll get more into that in a few minutes. All right, so what can we do then to reduce our anxiety? Experience, right? Experience. There's no substitute for just doing it, which is why that I make you guys do that horribly mean thing at the beginning of the semester and get your first speech out of the way. Okay. Got to just do that experience, rip that band-aid off. Okay. Prepare, prepare, prepare. I can't tell you enough how much more comfortable you will feel if you prepare. Okay. And then again, think positively. Okay. All right. Use power visualization. What do I mean by that? I mean, visualize yourself doing it well. Notice I didn't say doing it perfect, did I? My expectation is never that you all deliver a perfect speech. I don't want you all to give yourself the expectation you're going to deliver a perfect speech because we're not perfect, right? If you tell yourself you're going to give a perfect speech and you make a mistake along the way, you're going to be inclined to want to beat yourself up. So don't do that to yourself. Okay. This is one that students, this is an aha moment for a lot of students. Most of your nervousness, we don't know. We can't see it in the audience. We can't tell. And this is another little known secret that is an aha moment for students. Your audience members really aren't paying as much attention as you think they are. We think that people are going to catch mistakes we make. And I can tell you guys, they don't. Even I'm not going to catch some stuff, right? You're going to know because you wrote your speech and you know what you were going to say, but chances are we may not even see what happened. Okay. So again, don't beat yourself up over it. So, when I worked at the newspaper several years ago, several couple decades ago now, one of the things that I did was event planning, and so I would do different events, and I would always tell people when we did these events together as a group, the stuff that goes wrong behind the scenes, nobody knows about, right? I mean, most of the time you can cover it up and people don't even know it happened. So it's the same way with your speech. A lot of times, the type of speeches that we're going to be doing are mostly extemporaneous, which is a really fancy way of saying conversational style. And in conversational style, when you make a mistake, you can usually ad lib and get past it without a lot of people being aware that it even happened. Okay. So that should give you some peace of mind as you're going through this. Okay. It's okay to have a little bit of positive nervousness. That's actually like an adrenaline. That's a good thing. Okay. So you want a little bit of that, but you don't want it to the point that it's making you, stumble over your words or making you feel anxious about what you're doing. Okay. I always encourage students too, and we'll talk more about this, but do something before a speech that makes you feel good, right? Like listen to your favorite song, take a walk, do something to kind of put your head in a good space before you're going to give a presentation. Okay. Again, visualize yourself doing the presentation well. Critical thinking, we're going to get more onto that as we go. All right. Now, this part, this is the basics of communication. So we're going to spend a little bit of time on this, and I really would rather just go straight to this and show you guys. So this is how communication works. I come up with an idea and I encode that idea into a message. So whether I am giving that message to you verbally, whether I'm sending in a text message, I am coming up with a word and I'm assigning that word a meaning. Okay. So let me just say the word apple. I said the word apple. Tell me what came to your mind when I said the word apple.
Food.
Okay. Any more specific? Go ahead.
Oh, I said apple juice.
Apple juice. Okay.
Keeps the doctor away.
Okay. Anybody else?
Apple pie.
Did anybody think Apple phone? Apple Watch? No? Okay. I didn't give you guys any context clues at all, did I? So when I said Apple, I did not tell you guys how I encoded that message, right? Now, if I was sending that message to you as a text message and I put a picture of a green apple in there, there would be no question, would there?
Correct.
Right. But if I just said apple, let's say that you are out at the grocery store and your significant other sends you a message and says, can you pick up an apple while you're out? Are you going to know automatically what kind of apple to pick up? I mean, there's a lot of kinds of apples now. I don't know if you guys have like looked at the produce section, but it's not as simple anymore as just getting an apple, right? Okay. So they encoded a message of apple, but they didn't give you any clues as to what that encoding was. So this message got sent as a text message, you received it, and you decoded it. So you may have decoded it and said, I'm decoding it with a question mark because I don't know what this means. And so what you can do then is you can send a message back and say, apple question mark, or what kind of apple do you want? Or how many apples do you want? Do you want apple slices? Do you want your apples baked in a pie? Do you want your apple to be a Granny Smith green apple? Right? So this is what communication is. It is a message is encoded, it's sent, it's received, it's decoded, and then that person has the option of trying to get more clarification or just running with it, right? Now, that's best case scenario. But as we know, there's a lot of miscommunication that happens in this zigzaggy area right here. Okay. This is called interference or noise. Okay. There are a lot of things that can happen between when your message is sent and when it's received, or when it is decoded and then sent back. Okay. There's a lot of places for it to go wrong. Every time I look at this communication model, I wonder how we ever communicate at all, and any messages ever get through correctly. Right. Have you guys seen this diagram before broken out like this? Yeah. This is when you take like fundamentals of communication or interpersonal communication, we spend a lot more time on this. But I do like to touch on it in public speaking, because this is part of when you're speaking in public, when you're making a speech or presentation, you're encoding messages and sending them out to your audience. Your audience is taking those messages and trying to figure out what in the world you're talking about. Okay. So the better you can do at encoding the word correctly for your specific audience, the more clear and concise your communication is going to be. And if you're especially doing like a persuasive speech, the more effective you're going to be. Okay. What questions do you guys have about the speech communication diagram?
What would be a good example of interference?
Oh, good question. So with interference, you have internal noise and you have external noise. So one external noise could literally be noise, like somebody is blowing their leaves while you're trying to have a conversation, or someone's watching television and you're competing with the TV show that they're watching while you're trying to talk to them. Okay. Internal noise are those little voices in our head that kind of mess with us sometimes, right? Psychological noise, sometimes that's called. Okay. You know, what did that person mean by when they said that? You know, did they gave me a compliment, but were they really being nice, or were they really did they think that, my hair looks good, or were they just making fun of me, right? So that's the kinds of noise and internal dialogue that we have sometimes that interferes with a message coming across correctly. Good question, Garrett. I would encourage you guys to spend some time looking at this in your book. This is really fascinating stuff. This is the kind of stuff that you can share with your friends and family and significant others. And you can say, you know how sometimes we have trouble communicating? I think this is where we go wrong. So this is one of those opportunities where you get to take what you're learning and like share it and make your life better, and it doesn't even affect your grade.
I'm just gonna tell them I'm a psychology major instead, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah, good stuff there. Good stuff.
Oh,
All
would
right,
tone play a part in the interference as well?
tell me again. Does what?
The tone. How,
Tone. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, that's part of the context. Oh, absolutely. Yes. And that's one of the reasons that we have such a hard time with text messages and email messages. That's a great point because, yeah, depending on how you say something is sometimes just as significant as what you're saying, right?
right.
So, oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That's part of the encoding is the tone that you're using. Yeah, great point. Anything else? All right, a couple more of these. Frame of reference. Frame of reference also affects the decoding, right? And I'll give you guys a great example of frame of reference. So if I say the word lit, what kinds of meanings come to mind with the word lit?
Super cool or on fire.
Okay. Yeah. It's a big difference though, isn't it? Right? So that one little word with those three little letters can mean tons of different things, right? So whatever your frame of reference is, when you see the word lit, something different's going to be decoded in your mind than somebody sitting next to you when they see the word lit. Okay. Again, amazes me that we get any communication right at all whenever I start studying this stuff. Yeah. Because again, everything is filtered through the person's frame of reference, and no two people, even people who live in the same house, don't always have the same frame of reference. Okay. Again, this should be some light bulbs for some of you guys to be like, this explains a lot with some of the communication I have with some people. Okay. All right. This is another thing that gets in the way of good communication is ethnocentrism, and that's believing one group is superior to all other groups or cultures. Again, something we just have to overcome as we become more educated. We know that that is not a thing. Okay. We want to avoid this by making sure that we understand the cultural values of the audience members that we're talking to. We want to make sure that we're adapting our messages, and we want to put ourselves in the place of the person sitting in the audience. If I was this person sitting in the audience and I had this as my frame of reference, how would I take that word, right? If I am using the word lit, and I'm sitting in a demographic of audience that sees lit as cool, I'm going to say it and expect that they're going to understand it differently than if I am talking to a group of firefighters. Okay. All right. So I promised you guys we would not go too deep or too far into death by PowerPoint, but I wanted to at least get the foundation built for that. So thoughts on the basics of communication? No? All right. Then let's talk about your outline format and start looking at how we can organize our speech to be effective. Okay. Now you guys can find everything that I'm going to show you guys is in your Brightspace. So you can.
I've got this introduction, attention getter, thesis, connective. I got that.
That's it.
That print. That it. All right, cool.
That's it. You're there.
Just making sure.
Yeah, you're there. You have it
Gotcha.
pulled up on your screen?
No, I got it.
Oh,
I've just
okay.
got it printed out here.
Well, I was going to say, if you have it pulled up on your screen, I'll just share your screen.
Yeah,
I'm getting it up on
old.
mine.
I'm old school. I print this stuff out. So
Oh, hey, I've got papers all around me. I
right.
get it. I like to have tangibles myself.
Yes, ma'am.
I do like the portability of online stuff, though. I like to be able to take it with me.
As a teacher, I'm sure that's a lot easier for you, but then for me, I can't stand staring at a screen forever. So
It gets a little tiresome. I do. I like the flexibility as I shared with you all last week of being able to teach in person. I mean, teach online. And I like, especially at night when it's 14 degrees outside, to be sitting here and not having to get in my car. But I do miss being
right.
in person with you guys. All right, so let's look at if I can find what I did with it. Let's look at the outline.
Should we pull it up as well, like while
Sure, if you want to. I was going to do a screen share, but if you want to
okay.
pull it up, go right ahead.
I will let you
Yeah,
take
it's under outline. So again, I will do a screen share for you, but it is under content and then under outline. Okay, can you guys see it? All right, this is just kind of a paint by numbers kind of thing for you. And if you use this template, it will help you. Now, is this perfect for every speech you'll ever give? No. But if you use this basic format and you let yourself answer these questions, it's going to solve most of the problems you have in trying to organize a presentation. Okay, and you'll understand that more as we go through it. It has three major parts. It has your introduction, it has the body of the speech, and it has your conclusion. Okay. Someone long before me said it like this. You're going to tell them what you're going to tell them. You're going to tell them, and then you're going to tell them what you told them. Sounds a little bit like who's on first, doesn't it? Yeah. You repeat it 3 times. Based on that graph that we just talked about with the importance of communication and things that can go wrong, why do you think it's a good idea to repeat your main points 3 times?
People actually remember it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you remember when you were a little kid and you had to memorize the multiplication tables, right? Did you do that by just hearing them one time? No. And if you can remember you back even further than that, remember when you learned the ABCs? Right? No, it's okay. You don't have to. But when I say that, you have that song playing in your head now, don't you? Yes. Yeah. So we repeat it 3 times because we want the audience to get what we're trying to say. All right, so it's broken out in 3 parts. The first part is considered the introduction. And the first thing that you want to do is an attention getter. Why is it important that you start out your speech with an attention getter? Again, this is not a trick question.
Get people's attention.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you don't want to write this really great presentation, prepare all these great slides, have this wonderful energy all ready to go, and get a third of the way through your speech before your audience starts to connect with what you're saying, right? You want their attention from the very beginning of your speech. Okay. Your attention getter can be a lot of things, and we will spend a whole class talking about beginnings and ending a speech because that's a big part of your speech. It's an important part. Okay. But just know that you need something to get your audience's attention, and we'll get more into that. Your thesis is just like what you remember from English class, right? It is the main point of your speech. Okay. Today I'm going to talk about apples, oranges, and grapes. Okay. That's it. Nothing complicated. And your thesis and your preview can be the same thing. Okay. Your connection to the audience. This is that acronym that I gave you all. What's in it for me? Okay. How can I relate if I'm in the audience, why do I care about what you're saying? If I'm speaking, how do I make what I'm saying relevant to you? Okay. Connect your words and your message to the audience. Okay. Make it relevant to them. Okay. Credibility. I always give this example. So let's say the first day of class last week, I introduce myself to you as your instructor and I say, I've spent the last 20 years building carburetors, and now I'm going to teach you guys about public speaking. How much confidence would you all have that you were going to learn much about public speaking?
None.
None. But you might be calling me if your car starts making strange noises, right? Yes. So trust me, you would much rather me be teaching you about public speaking than carburetors. Okay. My stepdad's a mechanic. I let him do that. Okay. You need to show your audience that you know your stuff. You need to show you're credible to be speaking about what you're speaking about. If I don't feel like that you know what you're talking about, I'm probably not going to be real engaged in listening to you. Okay. So be thinking about, especially like your third speech, when you do information demonstration speech, You're going to be teaching us about something. Well, we need to know as the audience that you know what you're talking about. If you're going to teach us how to build an aquarium, which I've had students do, I need to know that you've had an aquarium that's been successful. Okay. And I'll know that because you'll tell me. You'll say in your speech, I've had a saltwater aquarium for 30 years. I've had a freshwater aquarium for 10 years. Okay. You're going to tell the audience why that, and we don't even realize we're doing this, guys. It's subconscious. In the audience, we're sitting there going, oh, they know what they're talking about. Right? Okay. Then we get into the body of the speech. And this is where you go through your main points and you start giving a little more detail. Okay. So in your preview, which is your thesis, you said, today I'm going to tell you about apples, oranges, and grapes. In your body, you're going to say, first, I'm going to tell you about apples. Then you talk about apples. And then you say, now that I've told you about apples, I'm going to tell you about grapes. Talk about grapes. And when you're done with grapes, you say, now I'm going to talk about bananas. You talk about bananas. Okay. That's your 3 main points and details. Then you get to conclusion. Okay. This is where you're starting to wrap it all up for people. Okay. Put a little bow on it. In conclusion, you actually want to use words like that. You want to let the audience know. That's called a signal. You're actually signaling that you're almost done with your speech. Okay. In conclusion, as I wrap up today, as we finish up, somebody tell you who's really good at this is if any of you guys have church in your lives, or if you've had church in your background, think about pastors, right? Or you maybe seen pastors on TV. They're really good at giving these clues, right? These context clues to let you know it's wrapping up. And I remember as a small child, like getting really excited when I would start hearing those cues because you knew it was about time to go get lunch, right? So, maybe they'd close their Bible, right? That might be one of the clues, or they might say something, or they might step away from the podium, right? So, can you guys think of any kinds of clues like that your pastors would have done to kind of give you that idea?
They have you to stand up for prayer.
Oh, there you go. Stand up for prayer. That's a good one.
They usually also raise their voice.
Raise their voice. That's true too.
The music starts playing.
Music starts playing. Yes, another context clue. And then I remember as a little kid, and I don't admit this as an adult, but as a little kid, you'd get all excited, and then all of a sudden, they'd open the Bible back up and they'd say, now we're going to talk about one more verse. And you'd be like, oh my gosh, no, I need to go eat. I'm starving. You guys know what I'm talking about, don't you? Especially as a little kid, because as a little kid, you just have no patience for sitting and listening. And, in the church that I grew up in was wooden pews. So we weren't sitting in these like comfortable chairs that people sit in or anything. They were hardwood chairs. But anyway, I digress. All right. So in conclusion, you're letting your audience know that you're wrapping up. Okay. You're going to review your main points, remind them what you told them. And then the opposite of the attention getter is the clincher. This is what you want to leave your audience with. What is memorable? What is going to stick with them? Maybe it's a challenge you throw out. Maybe it's a quote. Maybe it's something heartfelt, but you want to leave them with some kind of clincher. Okay. Then your last slide, if you're doing a slide, will be your bibliography and your works cited, because that's going to show that this stuff is not just your opinion. It actually has some research behind it. Okay. All right, that was a lot. What kinds of questions do you guys have about the outline?
What'd you say about the credibility? I wasn't listening. I don't think on that part. What
The
did you say
credibility
about
at the
that?
top.
Yeah.
The credibility is that's the example I gave about working on carburetors. So the credibility is that you need to show your audience that you know your stuff, that you have experience, that you're knowledgeable, that what you're talking to them about, you are an expert on.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Sure.
The connective, was that something that you kind of touched on before that kind of like makes your ears perk up? kind of thing, like you said.
Exactly. Yes, that's the connective. The connective is the with them. It's the why should I listen? What's in it for me? If I'm in the audience, how is this going to benefit me? Or how is this going to hurt me if I don't do it? Right? Like, what is the impact on me if I don't listen to this?
Got it.
Okay. All right. It is 6:51. Let's take like, because I want to get into the some more of the outline. The different types of outlines. And I want to give you guys time to work on this in class. So let's take a break. You guys good with that? And then we'll get back together. You guys good with that? Go get some water, stretch your legs, do whatever. It's 6:51. Let's get back together at 7. Can we do that? And then we'll go for a little bit longer. All right. All right, let's do that. Okay, let's try this again. All right. So you guys are investing a lot of time in your education journey. Okay. You're investing some money, you're investing some resources. You need to know what you're going to do with that and where you're going to go with that. And on the days when it's hard to show up for class and it's hard to do your homework, and you think I'd really rather be sitting and watching TV with my family than sitting in a public speaking class on a Tuesday night, this 5-year plan will help. Okay. Do this 5-year plan, do a vision board. Anybody here do vision boards? Okay. Can you tell us about a vision board for those people who may not be familiar?
So basically, a vision board is a whole bunch of different posts, pins, or anything that you want to aspire to be, emotions, vibes, anything that you want in your future. And you place it all together and you put it in a spot that you can see it. Sometimes people put it on a mirror or on the back of their wall, like I have mine. And you keep working towards what's on the board.
Yes, absolutely. Jocelyn, I saw you had one too. What do you do? Do you do anything different with yours?
Yes, me and my children actually do it New Year's Eve for the year.
Oh,
So what our vision is for the year.
okay.
Get the trifold boards, and we each do it on our own. And we just get a magazine. We get just different little stuff, construction paper and all, scissors, of course. And our vision for the year, we put it on the board.
That's great. That's great. So basically, I'm just going to have you do that times 5. Yeah. So again, some of you may already have something in place for this, but if you don't, then this is a good exercise. And I don't want you to feel like, I could give you guys like some kind of topic, hey, go research, the Swiss Alps and do a presentation on it, right? But if you have no interest in the Swiss Alps, you might look at it as a waste of time. But if you are researching your own life, that's a good investment of time right there, right? So I want you guys to know that, like, as adult learners, this stuff has relevance for you. Okay. It's not just busy work. Okay. This is not the equivalent of a worksheet in elementary school. Okay. This is real world, real life stuff that's going to help you guys to get to where you want to go. Okay. Because my guess is when you started school, you at least had an idea about where you wanted to go, right? I mean, you may not have it all completely mapped out. And I'm not saying that you guys need to like, have every minute of every day figured out, but you at least want to know where you're going, right? Now, on this, and I'll go back to sharing this. This isn't just career. Now, career is a big part of it, but the aim of the Back to the Future speech is to see what your life is going to look like in 5 years. So that's bigger than just your career, right? What do you guys want to do? Do you want a job where you're going to have a lot of money or where you're going to have a lot of flexibility? You can't always have the both, right? Sometimes you got to choose one or the other. Are you going to do you want to create a life where you travel a lot? Or do you want to be able to buy a certain type of home, right? So all these things factor in to decisions you make. So this is going to sound like such a parent thing to say, and I'm sorry, but the decisions you're making today is going to have an impact on next year and the year after that, right? So if you look 5 years down the road and you work backwards, then you could be intentional about where you're going. Okay, now again, I'm not saying you won't change your mind, right? A lot of people change their mind, and that's okay. Okay. So again, I want you guys to use this as an opportunity to practice public speaking and practice the process of getting it ready, like we've talked about, getting your topic, getting your outline, practicing your speech, delivering your speech, giving yourself feedback after your speech, all that process. But I want you to do it for your own future planning. Okay, so this one is going to be worth 100 points, double what the other one was. It's going to be 3 to 5 minutes. So it's going to be 3 to 5 times what we did the first speech. Okay. You don't have to have any sources with this one, right? So I'm not asking you to do any research on this one. You can if you want, but you don't have to. You can do that in later speeches, I promise. Okay. A visual aid is not required, but it is allowed. So I'm a visual learner. I like to see things. And so for me, a vision board or a Pinterest board or a slide deck with a PowerPoint, to me, those things help me to visualize better, but you don't have to. So your other ones, you're going to have to, but on this one, it's optional. I would go ahead and practice just me. Okay. So one of the things to keep in mind for this speech is when we go into class in 2 weeks, it's going to be 2031. Okay. We are going to be in 2031. So we're going to speak that night like that we have accomplished what we wanted to accomplish in the next 5 years. And we're going to be speaking to each other like it's 5 years from now. Okay. I want you guys to really try to be in the moment as much as you can. What are some creative, fun ways to do that? One, you could pick 3 objects that represent your life in the year 2031. You could talk about a day in your life in 2031, right? I get up at 6 o'clock, I go for a run, then I go to my office, I put in a day's work, I come home to be with my family. Whatever you want a day to look like in 6 years. Okay, 5 years. 5 years. 2026. It's messing with me. Okay. Or maybe you want to talk about how you got to that position. Maybe you want to talk about what has transpired in the last 5 years between 2026 and 2031. Maybe you want to tell us about, I did this in 2026, I did this in 2028, I did this in 2030 that set me up to be where I'm at now at 2031. Okay, none of those are wrong, or some other version of that is fine. So you might have a different idea that comes to your mind for that. This is just some ideas to kind of get you going. Okay, you're going to use that outline that we just talked about. So you're going to use the 5 parts, right? You're going to use the attention getter. You're going to have a main idea. The what's in it for me, the connective for this part is going to be, you're going to be relating to your classmates, because just like you, they have journeyed over the last 5 years too. So that's going to be your connection to this audience. You may say things like, like you, I was sitting in public speaking class in 2026, thinking that this 5 years wouldn't have happened as fast as they are, but gosh, it seems like it was just 2 weeks ago we were sitting in public speaking class. Okay. So again, just figure out kind of, or, how you can, almost like a reunion with your classmates in 2031. Okay. You're going to have your credibility statement, why you're qualified to speak about this topic. You're qualified because it's you and you've had a plan and you've stuck to your plan. So that's why you're qualified for this one. Okay. Your preview statement. Again, this is going to be, I'm going to tell you about a day in my life, about 3 objects. I'm going to tell you about, and I didn't mention this, but it can also be, maybe you've got some really cool trips you want to take in the next 5 years. Maybe you have a health goal you want to reach. Maybe you want to run a marathon and prepare for that in the next 5 years. So again, it doesn't necessarily just have to be career. I don't want you all to feel like that you're just pigeonholed into just a career for this. Okay. This is just details about what all to include. Okay. And then you've got a little bit of a checklist. Okay. You're going to develop your topic. Me in 5 years is your basic topic, but you're going to specify that. Okay. You're going to write your outline using the format provided. Then from that outline, we haven't talked about this a lot, but you can use note cards for your speech. Small note cards, not giant note cards, not 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper, not poster board, small note cards. Okay. Now, someone always asks me every semester, how many note cards can I use? I don't want any more than 5 if possible. On this one, you may not need any at all, actually, because you're talking about yourself. And if you have a vision board or a PowerPoint, you can kind of use that as a jumping off point. As we get into more technical speeches, you might want to use your note cards more, but we'll get into that later. Practice your speech. Now, not every class is going to encourage you to do this, but I'm going to encourage you guys. This is one of those times when you can use AI for part of your assignment. Now, do I want AI to write your outline for you? Absolutely not. Do I want AI to be your thought partner? Because that is how we use AI ethically and effectively as students. Yeah, you can do that. You can actually upload your speech to AI and it will actually give you feedback. Okay. Don't have to, not saying you have to, it's just a tool. Okay. Another tool is this right here. Record yourself on your phone, play it back and listen to it. Watch it. Okay. Ask a buddy to listen to you. Ask a friend, ask your mom, ask your significant other. That's another way. Practice in front of a mirror. That's another way to practice. Okay. You find what works for you. All right. Once you do that, the next step is you're going to present in class on the 10th. And then after you present in class, I'll give you my feedback and you'll write your self-reflection. And again, that will be the process that you will use this checklist right here for every speech that we do for the remainder of the semester.
Will there be a Dropbox to put our feedback into, or?
Yes. Yes. And you won't actually, that is a great question. You won't actually submit anything for your speech. So what you will do is you will just present and then I'll take notes during your speech and I'll grade you on it. So you don't actually submit anything. But after your speech is over, there will be a section called self-reflection. And you will go into that self-reflection and I ask you 3 questions. I'll say, what are you most proud of in this speech? What could you have done better in this speech? And how can you use what you learned in this speech for future speeches and future presentations? So, good question. What else?
So if we do have like a visual aid, like a PowerPoint, I'm assuming we would screen share and do it that way?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, there's big advantages to that. There's one of the ways to ease anxiety because if the audience is looking at your PowerPoint, they're not necessarily looking at you. Just something to think about. Or your vision board if you want to do a vision board. The challenge with a vision board is making sure that you're getting your vision board and yourself in the shot. It's a lot easier to do a vision board if you're in person. It's easier to do a PowerPoint or a Prezi or some other kind of visual presentation online if you're in an online class. So, what other questions do you guys have about this Back to the Future speech? Again, all of this is under content, so you can go back and look at it. Oh, and this is the rubric. I use this as a general guideline, but this is to show you guys what kinds of things I'm going to be grading you on. Okay, I'm going to be grading you to make sure that you have the main points as you outlined so that you have your attention giver, your preview. I'm going to be looking that it's organized, that you made transition statements. You didn't just jump from one topic to another without using transition words. And we're going to get more into those, I promise you, as the semester goes on. You know, that you have a closing sentence, okay? That you don't just leave the audience hanging, right? You don't just stop talking all of a sudden and we have to guess whether you're done or not. Okay. So you want to wrap it up. Okay. You want to make sure there's a clean wrap up. I want to, I'm going to be watching to make sure that you presented in present day 2031, right? That you're not saying in the future, but you're really in the moment there. Your posture. I know you guys ask me about what you're going to wear that day. Nothing on here has anything to do with what you're wearing, if you noticed. I want to make sure that you guys are sitting up straight, that you are presenting with confidence, that you are enthused and excited about your conversation, because this is you. If you don't get excited about it, nobody else is going to, right? That you're making good eye contact with the audience. You're going to hear this a lot from me this semester. 80%, at least 80%. You need to be making eye contact with your audience at least 80% of your speech. Okay. It's okay to look at notes. It's okay to look away sometimes, but you really need to be making eye contact so that your audience knows you're talking with them and not at them, or not you're just mumbling off in outer space. Okay. Hand gestures. Use hand gestures, right? If I'm saying, number one, I'm going to tell you about this. Second, I'm going to tell you about that. Use hand gestures. They help reinforce the words you're using. Volume. You mentioned tone. Tone, volume, those are similar sometimes, right? If you're excited, get excited. If it's serious, get serious. Okay. Conversational tone. You want to sound as much as you can like that you are talking with me as a friend and not preaching to me, or not talking to me like you're up here and I'm down here. Okay. Talk with me. Okay. Rate. I warned you guys that public speaking students turn into auctioneers on public speaking days sometimes. Okay. When we get nervous, we talk faster. This is what I hear from a lot of students. I practiced and it was 5 minutes, and then I presented and it was only 2. Right? So my suggestion is have more material than you need, because you can keep your own timer. And if you see that you're going to go over, you can always cut some stuff out. But it's a lot easier to cut out material than it is to add to it impromptu. Okay, just a little trick of the trade there. Vocal variety. You don't want to sound monotone. And vocalized pauses. One of the absolute most effective things that a public speaker can do is to pause. We live in a really noisy world. And one of the best ways to keep your audience engaged is to make sure that there are pauses. Just try this experiment sometime. Talk to somebody while they're on their phone. They're playing with their phone, they're not paying attention to you, and you're talking, and then all of a sudden just stop talking. What happens when that happens usually? Yes, exactly. They look up, right? They're like, wait a minute, something changed, right? Same thing with your audience. A good pause is actually more effective than raising your voice. Okay. My goodness, I have done a lot of talking tonight. I will be glad when it is speech day and you all have a chance to do some more of the talking. Again, I know I hit you guys with a lot of information. That's the downside of only meeting once a week. We have to get a lot packed into a small amount of time. So if there's questions you have that didn't come up tonight, please email me, okay? I know I hit you guys with a lot of stuff tonight. Okay, I'm going to break you all into groups, and I want you all to spend at least 20 minutes, maybe longer, working on this assignment in groups. Okay. Good part about it is you won't have homework if you get it done ahead of time, and you get a chance to work in a group. Okay. If you need more time than that, I can give you more time. but that's probably going to be enough. Oh, Blake, we have company? We have extra people?
Yeah, I'm at a buddy's house right now for poker night, but it's getting. I gotta go in another room in a second. It's getting a little busy.
Okay. We have extra audience members tonight. Okay, so I'm going to put you guys into groups. What questions do you guys have about this assignment?
Is there a Dropbox for this assignment?
Yes. And I'll go through and make sure it's open for you. You will work as a group, but you will turn in your own paper. So everyone turns in their own assignment, but you can work in groups. Okay?
Actually, I had a quick question about
Sure.
just the eye contact on the speech. Of course, that's
Yeah.
easier in person than on here. Is that like looking into the camera, or is that looking around like at the screen and everybody else? How do you want that to
That's for
come
this,
about?
the purposes of this is looking into the camera. Yeah. And the big thing with this is don't try to read off your screen while you're presenting. We can tell. Okay? Don't do it. These speeches are meant to be extemporaneous. They're meant to be conversational. They are not meant to be read from a teleprompter. Okay? So if you're looking at the camera, it's different than reading from your screen. Okay? Other questions?
It's just the document that you had open, correct?
For
Like the one we fill out for this assignment, it's just the one that you had open and we're going through with us, correct? The outline is what it's labeled as.
yes, you
Right.
will take a speech. You will find a TED Talk as a group, and you will listen to that TED Talk, and then you'll talk about it, and you'll dissect from it what the attention getter was, how it connected to the audience, what the main points were, what the conclusion was, if they reviewed the main points, and then don't forget, I'll count off points for this. Don't forget on the bibliography, we're excited to give me the URL for the TED Talk.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, stop the recording.